What's up, everybody? Welcome to Comic Book Addicts. This is episode 20. It's Monday, May 22nd. I hope you guys' weeks are off to a good start. Mine started off with a doctor trip. I kind of traded my off days around this week. I normally would have worked today, but took the day off today. So just kind of relaxing after that and just hanging out. But I hope that your week is off to a good start. And let's see who we got in the comments. We have X11 Bravo. What's up, brother? Glad you could make it out tonight. He says, bring on the evil. We're going to, man. Just wait. We got Brian LCS. I agree. Bring out the evil. What's up, Brian? I'm glad that you could come out and hang out with us tonight. We got Adam collecting with Durs. He says, hello, my beautiful homies. What's up, Adam? Hope you're doing well, man. Let's see. We have Lady Fantastic, Caroline. Hey, Scotty, Mike, X11 Bravo, Brian, and Durs. Hey, Caroline, I hope you're doing well. I talked to her yesterday evening. I hope that you were doing well today. I hope your week's off to a good start. Heroes and Villains, glad you could make it. Super glad that you could make it to the live tonight. Hell yeah. I believe that's their first time I've ever seen them in here. So thanks for coming out tonight. Should be a good one. We have an awesome guest tonight. We got Evil's Comics. One of my homies from the comic book community, so it's going to be a lot of fun. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into some community news. Get this out of the way. Oh, wait, we got Cali Comics. Want to say what's up and shout out to Cali Comics, man. I'm glad you could make it. But let's get on with this community news so I can bring out our guest. CBC Awards, we all know nominations are open. They're going, running through August 5th, I think. You go to www.cbcawards.org and click nominations ballot, and that's all there is to it. It's really, really simple and takes very little time. And also, you can follow CBC Awards on Instagram to stay up to date on everything as far as the awards go. I also wanted to remind everybody that Collecting with Durs, my homie Adam, does his live stream every Sunday evening at 6. I was actually on there with Comiverse yesterday evening, and we hung out and we're showing off comics and just BSing and having fun. It's a really good time. It's his Sunday night sesh, and that's every Sunday at 6. Ooh, we got Chop and Drop. What's up, Chop? Glad you could make it, man. Glad you could be here. Thanks for throwing up that CBC link there. But also this Saturday, I'll have my 1K giveaway. So I've been planning that for a little while now, but it's going down this Saturday. It's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Everyone's welcome. I want everybody to come out. I want all you guys to come out and just hang out and have a good time. Be giving away a couple of slabs. Be giving away like 5 sealed Marvel Legends, some really cool ones. A 6-foot Alex Ross timeless mural, really cool. Would be awesome for somebody's comic cave or man cave or something like that. Oh, we got Jimmy G, comic guy. What's up, man? Glad you could make it, Jimmy G. Tell Wolf Wolf I said what's up. Norn Rad 82, glad you could make it, man. Let's see. We got Sector 2815. Glad you guys could make it. What's up? But yeah, that's this Saturday at 8 p.m. So you guys come hang out. It should be fun. Next week on Comic Book Addicts, I'll have Stephanie, Madam Blaster. She'll be on here hanging out and just talking art and all kinds of good stuff, comic books. And it's going to be fun. Stephanie's an awesome person. You all know Stephanie's Madam Blaster is really cool. So it's going to be a fun time. And I think that's all. Well, hold up. Don't forget to flip over to Between the Lines after the show tonight at 8:35. They have a really cool artist. I can't remember her name. It's Alexandra something. I can't remember her name. If you guys know, let me know in the comments because I'm kind of drawing a blank. But a really, really good Instagram artist will be with Travis and Roscoe on Between the Lines at 8:35. So tune in for that for sure. But with that being said, my guest this week is not only a comic book collector, he also has one of the dopest comic book review channels on YouTube, taking everything from indies to DC Comics to Marvel and breaking them down to the viewer so that you know if it's something you'd want to spend your money on. And he does it all in a pretty decent period of time. and he was nominated for a CBC award this past year. And not only that, I'm proud to call him a friend of mine. Y'all help me welcome the homie Evil Mike to the stream. What's going on, dude? How are you, man? Excited to have
What's
you
going
with
on,
us.
everybody?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, dude. I'm doing great. Glad to have you. Glad to finally get to hang out with you, man.
I appreciate the offer, and I'm excited to be here. I'll tell you that, man.
Oh, we got Bryant. What's up, Bryant? Couching and slouching with C Bizzle. So, Mike, tell us about yourself, man. Where did you grow up? Where do you currently reside? Tell us all that good stuff.
I am Mike, Evil Mike. I'm from originally Houston, Texas, born and raised, and
Nice.
I've lived all around America. But currently, the past year, I've lived in Aurora, Colorado, right next to Denver. I mean, it's right next to you. Um, Yeah, and that's that. But I have lived all over America. A year in New York, a year in California.
Yeah.
Previously, like 20 years ago, 2 years in Colorado.
So how long have you currently been where you're at now?
About a year.
About
A
a
little
year.
more than a year actually,
How you like
because
it
I
out
think I
there?
came here.
How's Aurora?
It's got it's got its pros and cons. I mean, it's got a LCS that's not too far away. So I mean, that's the super pro,
That's
I'd
always
say.
good.
But
Rocket
everything
hoop.
else, it's got its pros and cons. I'd say it's really beautiful compared to Texas. To me, Texas has its beauty too. But I
Yeah.
came from Houston, a major city. It wasn't really landscape or it was more like the city. So living out in Colorado, you get to see a lot more of nature and that kind of stuff. Going outside and I mean, I right outside my door, I can see like the mountaintops with snow. It's pretty
Man, that's
cool.
awesome. Yeah, that must be really cool. Well, we have the Appalachian Mountains. I live around where the Appalachian Mountains, like I live right at the foot of a mountain actually. It's really pretty out here, but it's a different kind of beautiful out there. Y'all got those snow caps on the mountains. It's I've never been out there, but I've seen pictures. It's beautiful.
The snow's a whole nother beast. It wasn't that bad. It's not, I'd say comparatively, I mean, degree wise, Colorado gets way colder, but it's a
Yeah.
different type of cold. It's lacking the humidity. I'd say my Houston cold was it felt colder than this winter was. But the snow, that's something different. There's a lot of stuff you don't see about the snow, like what happens to the snow after it's been on the ground for a day.
Right.
I mean, so back to the pros and cons. Snow's pretty when it begins, but then it just turns into mush and
Makes for a
nastiness.
big ass mess.
Hmm.
Well, dude, are you a lifelong comic book collector? I know you. I met you through comic books, and I met you. I love your channel. You do awesome comic book reviews, and
Thank you.
but yeah. So I met you through comic books. But are you a lifelong collector, or is it something you picked up on later on in life and came back to, like me, a couple years ago?
Lifelong. Actually, I've never had a gap in my. Well, I mean, it kind of depends. Like because I started, I'd say the first time a comic book graced my hand was like when I was 4 or something like that. And at that time, of course, I couldn't read them or anything, but I was already making up my own stories and picking characters that I thought were cool and stuff like that to me. But I want to say, around the time I was like, it was around like 6 or 7. That's when I was really like, I started like, reading and collecting comics. But
Hmm.
for me, I do have gaps, but they're different gaps. I've never stopped collecting comics or reading. Well, I'll go into that too. But there's been times where I've banned certain companies, like, and I've had major gaps. For instance, I banned Marvel from 2015 to 2000 like 21 when I started YouTube. I hadn't bought a Marvel comic in that time frame just
Wow.
because I like at the time that I mean the time leading up to when I banned Marvel, like it was just bad story after bad story, and to me it was like cash grab after it was like one story. Like, it was like so I
So
just had
that's your
made the
reasoning.
decision.
That's your reasoning
Hmm.
behind the is just the
And this is
cash
before
grab.
the whole like the MCU and I used to explain to people it didn't pertain to everything Marvel because it's before Disney, but it didn't pertain to everything Marvel. It was just specifically their comics. I still bought toys and posters and still love those characters, but I was kind of on the mindset, nope, I'll wait for these writers or these artists to pass. This isn't, my Marvel kind of thing, and
Yeah.
I did it. No, but
Well,
I will say, and I've mentioned this before. What's that, freaky? That I haven't been a reader my whole comic book for. You could kind of describe me as a comic book like collector, but really like a cover collector all the way up into my 30s. I'm 43 now, so
okay.
I want to say in 2000, somewhere around 2000, something sparked in me where I had a massive collection at that time, and I was like, you know what? I'm not even reading any of these. And I had some bad, like really dope comics that I had found and stuff. But there was a specific storyline, and if I had to like guess, because I don't remember guaranteed, but it had to be like the New 52 Batman run. But it was the Joker. It was like further in. It was like issues 15 and 16 when they were doing the whole, Joker taking off his face and stuff. And I was hearing people talk about it. I was like, oop, I got to read that. At
Was
that
that the
point
Killing
on, I've
Joke?
been a, yeah, I think so. Or I can't remember what they call it. Endgame, I think it was.
Okay.
Is Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, because I think it started like, if
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
mistaken,
Okay.
like New 52, like four issues, like 14, 15, 16. And it was like the covers, the story concept, like how bizarre DC was going with their characters. I mean, Joker literally took his face off at one point. He put it on Harley. Like they were doing some bizarre stuff. So at that point, I was like, and I want to say it was that series that it got me into it. But there was a couple other things happening at that time where I was just like, nope, I'm gonna start reading. And ever since then, I've never stopped.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So what do you remember like the comic book that initially got you into comics? Like what is your earliest memory that you have of picking up a comic book?
So I have one, and shout out to my boy Comic Journey, because we were like fiddling. I love this video, but he was doing a random thing where he was driving around and he went to LCSs, and
Mhm.
he was live when he went to the LCSs, and he was allowing some of us, like me, Brian, I can't remember who else was there. It might have been Norrad, but he was allowing some of us to like actually pick out comics, and he was going to send them to us. They were all
Wow,
like
that's
dollar books and
awesome, man.
stuff. It was dope. But as he was
Yeah.
doing that, he was going to the dollar bins, and they managed to go through. It was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was the Adventure series, but it was issue number 4. That's one of the first comics that I can remember, like hopping on my bike at like 6 or 7, and actually riding to like a 7-Eleven and buying it off of like, from a gas station or whatever, and like
Yeah.
physically buying it myself. But I mean, there is a Spider-Man book that I have not located. We've gotten close. Like Roscoe's tried to help me,
Mhm.
but there is a Spider-Man. I know specifically what the cover is, and it's funny if I mention it to hardcore Spider-Man fans, they usually know what the cover looks like, but they can't come up with what it is. Because it's not just Amazing Spider-Man; it's Spectacular Web. But this had to be in the 80s or something. But there is a Spider-Man cover, and that would have been the first like comic that really got my attention and got me to like, just flip through the pages as a young kid.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. Hell yeah. Well, what are some other comic books that got you hooked? Like you said, Spider-Man, Ninja Turtles. What was some other stuff
And
that you grew up reading?
Batman Day One.
Batman.
I've been a Batman fan since, I can remember. But it was also like, if some older of us people and folks in the chat can remember, before Batman the animated series, we had DC Super Friends and the Legion of Doom that used to come on Saturday mornings and stuff like that. And so I was watching stuff like that. Also at the same time, he had like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends with Firestar and stuff like that. There was
Mhm.
even a very early X-Men cartoon that no one remembers, and the only piece of it they remember is from the X-Men arcade machine, because they play a piece of that animated series from that in the arcade game. But honestly, the first couple of things was Spider-Man, Batman, Fantastic Four was one of my first, and at that time they were
Awesome.
doing Atuma's something in an annual. I remember that was one of my first annuals I picked up. But let me see what else. Nah, but those are some of my first, like the basics of what started me off. I'd say X-Men, Fantastic Four, Spidey, and Batman.
That's some really cool picks, man. Some really cool stuff to read. Um, now, me and you actually have something in common, and we've talked about it many times. It's one of the reasons I really like you, and I feel like you've grown to be a pretty good friend of mine. Um, we've both been through some shit in our lives, and we've both been down, and we've both managed to make our way back again. And we're back, and we're collecting comics. And did you want to talk about that a little bit? You said that you'd share a little bit about
So let's see, where do I begin? In my journey, um, I've mentioned this before, but I do have a family, and I have a big family. But as far as
yeah,
being in my family or my family being in my life,
yeah,
not so much. My brother's here, but honestly, he's the one family member that's pretty much, will even talk to me or anything. And what, pray tell, might you ask what I did? And I was just falling in love with the wrong girl, and I wouldn't say wrong girl. To me, she was the right girl, but I'd say there was a little bit of racism in my family. If anybody knows Texas, it's kind of a like running thing and stuff. And I had that woven in my family at a
yeah,
certain age. I just got tired of it. I grew up the opposite. I grew up with like very little white friends, or, in my neighborhood, it was all either black or Pakistani, or it was a mixed culture. All my friends
yeah,
growing up were other nationalities. But I know, like, my family was poor. But my parents are divorced. My mom was trying to raise me as a single kid, that kind of stuff. So I
mhm,
never saw any of my background as a bad thing. But
yeah,
at one point, my family tried to like better themselves, and my mom moved out of the ghetto, and we moved to like a nice, richier, and I wouldn't say white area because it still wasn't white, but my high school years when I really started dating, because I had already started dating in middle school, but I wouldn't say, dating. It was really like high school. But like I ended up dating, on my mom's standards, a wrong girl, and like, and for me, she was just, I mean, it was just any other person. It was just our connection was there. It had, yeah, at the time, it was race and age that played a major, part of the story. But
mhm,
for my for me, I didn't see all that. So it was a big issue, like with my family fighting back and forth with that. And eventually, like by the time I was 15, I was already making money. I'd been making money for 3 or 4 years before then, mowing grass, working side jobs, stuff like that. And I
yeah,
felt like I had saved up enough money, I could continue going to school. So I left school. Not left school, I left home. um, at 15. And then there's a lot more that goes into it, and it's a pretty horrible situation when you get down to it. I was given an
yeah,
ultimatum: either I choose that girl, or I choose, like, my family and the house that I lived in. And ultimately, at the time, I was in love with her. I'd already been with her for 2 years, and I was like, nope, I'm choosing the girl.
yeah,
I
man.
was
I
like, I
think a
love my
lot of us have
family.
been through that, dude. I've been through that. Similar, similar.
So at that time, like, and since I was so young and in Texas, I couldn't. I thought, having money, I could just go out and get my own apartment, start my own thing, keep going to school. No, I found out the hard way, and I wasn't told by anybody, but I couldn't do all that. So I literally went homeless, and for the next 3 years, 15 to 18, I continued school, graduated a year early. I had to, like, basically kind of start from scratch and everything. And it
Hmm.
took a while. And eventually, at that time, I cut off my whole family. I'd say at that time, one of the only things I left from my house, and I've told some people, but I left with my boxes, my comic boxes in my hand that day. Um, they went with me everywhere for the longest time.
That's
Um,
cool, man.
but no, for 3 years, I was legitimate homeless. And I wouldn't say at first. The first year, I was staying with friends that were sympathetic to the cause, and
Yeah,
but eventually you burn bridges, and sometimes it had nothing that specifically that I did. It was just, but no, that lasted, I want to say, like roughly a year. And in the last 2 years, I'd say I was like really homeless, and maybe not 2 years, but I'd say like a year and 8 months. And then I eventually, like, I'd saved up and scrounged up enough money and I was old enough where I could get an apartment.
hmm,
Um, no, but around the time I was 18, I have, the name of the show, I have dabbled with, I'd say, every drug under the sun. I wanted to experiment, leaving home wasn't just like to prove that I could do it on my own. There was a lot of things that went into it because me and that girl didn't last. It was like 5 years, and eventually she left me, and it was
Okay.
kind of done. I don't know, but no, during that time, I kind of like I wanted to be an adult. That's when I kind of like I had left Texas. I went and after I kind of got established after I was 18, but by 19, I was already like I went to go to New York. I lived there for a year. But by the
Shit.
time I turned 20, I'd moved to Colorado. I lived there 2 years, and kind of like every state I went to, I got a little more successful and was able to like kind of rebuild my life a little more. But eventually, I went back to Houston in 2002. I got married, had some kids,
Yeah. Life.
um, yeah. But I was able to settle down, and I did the married life the first time for like
Mhm.
11 years. I was able to reunite with my family because during that time, I kind of, you know, I'm not going to say I'm stubborn and stuff like that. Yes, I am. I'm very stubborn. And
I am too.
no,
Yeah.
but no, it was their decision to make that ultimatum. So in my mind, I wasn't gonna, go back and be like, oh, well, we'll just, man, I've missed out so much. Come back in my life, family. I mean, no, no, no. So I mean, there was a grudge, and I didn't talk to my family for a long time. It's my first wife that she was kind of weirded out that she knew I had a big family, and then I had kids, and she wanted, them to be in my life, kind of thing. And that's kind of how I got. By the time when I left my brother, I think he was like, I want to say he was like 12. The brother that's here with me, Randy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
by the time I saw him again, he was like 19 or something like that.
Oh, damn.
It was a mess. I mean, there was some things I regretted in that time. One of my favorite family members, who, I mean, maybe as a grown person, I might have found some bad stuff, but no, my favorite family member. By the time I came back, she had sadly passed away from breast cancer, and during that
Mm.
gap of time that I wasn't talking to my family, I'd missed out on, her getting sick, her passing away, the whole funeral. I mean, I had to find out from my cousin like, years later, and that kind of sucked.
Yeah, dude. I bet that was tough, man. I've went through similar situations to that. But I don't, the reason I bring this up though, man, like you have to, I guess you have to hit rock bottom. Some of us just have to go through the shit to learn from it and get better and want to do better, unfortunately. And I feel like in my definitely in my case and in your case, we just kind of had to go through some shit and live and learn. And but how are you able to kind of turn things around though, like and get back to where you're in like a stable situation again? Because I want to hear about that.
The
Some
first the
maybe somebody
first
could
time when
take
I
from
was
something.
homeless, well, the first time when I was homeless, it was actually making a connection. It was I there was a trick I used to pull a lot when I was physically homeless, but I used to spend a lot of time in the movie theaters. I'm already a movie fan as it is.
Yeah.
And there's kind of a trick if you go during the day to like movies that no one wants to see, no one's there. So it's an easy place. You can pay like back in the day, it was like $4 or something like that. You can get a ticket, go sleep for a couple hours. And, if you did it right, you can move from like theater to theater to theater and just get like a good solid, sesh of sleep without anybody bothering you. Because I mean, people fall asleep at the movie theater all the time.
Right.
Um, no, so I used to do that a lot, but eventually doing that, and I want to say, man, I did things legit. Like I would pay for my ticket. It wasn't just like I theater hopped, and I've done that before. But no, at this time I was, in case anybody ever said anything, I had my ticket, kind of thing. I was smart, but one second.
Oh, you good, man?
Um, no, but eventually I made a connection with this dude that was going to the theater by himself. It was like it was another person of my age, like a single guy, and we were watching like independent films and stuff. And every now and then I would watch a film. Like I'd kind of pick a couple of movies that I wasn't interested in. Those would be the movies I'd fall asleep into, and then the last couple I'd actually watch or whatever. And eventually, like we started popping up in the same like movies, and he kind of found out about my plight. But if I mean, like eventually, he's the one that kind of like helped me get back on my feet. because he was just
Cool.
like, it wasn't even, it was more like a guidance thing. It wasn't like he gave me money or anything like that. It was more like, these are the steps you need to take to get an apartment, and at that time teachers weren't giving me that guidance, other, because everybody saw me as like this independent person, you're supposed to know how to do it kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
nobody was taking the time to,
You got to
but
learn
this guy.
somehow, man. You have to have somebody show you, and or else you're going to have to learn the hard way and learn yourself like me and you had to. And it sucks.
But
But
he had found like there was a couple stepping stones that he had helped me out with. He'd helped
Mhm.
me out with like a good job, and then it was getting my first like foot into an apartment, that kind of thing.
That's
Because even
awesome.
at 18, just because you're 18, and have the money, and most apartment places won't take first time renters, that kind of thing. So I had to get like a cosigner, and he did that.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times they do want a cosigner first time around, especially if you're really young. But dude,
No, but
okay.
I mean,
I'm sorry. Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
man.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good, bro.
No, I was gonna say, I mean, that's not the only tribulation. I mean, that's just like that was when, when I was a lot younger. Like I said, I'm 43 now. Um, no, but I mean, I think we all go through troubles and stuff like that. I think that the
Yeah.
the person that you have in front of you, that you're seeing right now is the outcome of all those different situations summed up.
Yeah, man.
Um, no, but I mean, I pretty much lived in the ghetto my whole life. I've never gotten out of that. Even when I had a house with my wife and stuff, it wasn't in the best of neighborhoods. We still had a house, but
Hmm.
it took a lot of time. But with both of us saving up and scrimping, and
Well,
I don't know.
how do me and you both like? I feel like we both kind of use comic books and the hobby to keep everything like it fills a void in my life. It keeps me busy with something. I'm always thinking about the next video I can make or the next live, the next book that I want, and it kind of keeps me in line. Um, I don't know, the collecting hobby helps me out a lot, and I can see with you as well. Like you do these awesome ass reviews on your channel, and yeah, man, I wanted to talk about the channel a little bit too because Evil's Comics. If you guys have never heard of his channel before, he does these badass reviews. He really breaks down a book so you can decide if you want to buy it or not. And he does it like you're not sitting there for like an hour watching it. Um, they're relatively short and to the point, and super really good channel. One of my favorites.
Well,
Him and
let me
Indie Com.
let me stop
Huh?
you there. Let me
Yeah.
stop you there, because that's not why I do my channel. Why? Let
What
me
do you do?
explain why why I do Evil's reviews. And some of y'all know. And it's kind of like that. You could say, I don't mind people. I actually love hearing that, hey, you helped me save money.
Yeah.
Or, hey, man, I got to turn around and go get that book. That was fan.
Hmm.
I love hearing stuff like that. But
Yeah.
the origin, I have like, it's kind of like a 3 reason thing on why I came up with Evil's Comics and got on YouTube. Um, the first reason is kind of like a video journal. I think we all have that, like it's something that's here that's like, I mean, for now, it's something that's permanent. And say
Hmm.
something happened to me, and I wouldn't, wish that on anybody, but we're not all, sorry, excuse me, we're not all like guaranteed, so it's kind of one of those things like if my kids ever, found this or something like that, which they don't know I do kind of thing. So if they did, I'd be like, yeah, cool. There's something that they could actually like,
Have all
actually,
this footage.
because I can say this, there is that concept as there's like a fake version of some YouTubers, and I would agree to a huge extent, right? Some people you can kind of tell that they're, you
Putting
know,
on a show.
you yeah, yeah, that it's a show and stuff like that, and no offense to them, but I mean, me, this is like the best version of me because I get to talk about all the things I'm passionate about,
Yeah,
and
man,
I
and it
get to be
shows.
goofy, and yeah, that's like talking about vulnerabilities, and that's why I told you like backstage, I'm an open book because the people that I am talking to here are the
Yeah.
people that I want to talk to. They're the people that would listen to me if they were here in person, kind of thing. I would listen to them, kind of thing. I mean, I think that's all of us as we got on YouTube. I mean, that's for me, that's the number one reason I got on YouTube is because I've never had physical friends ever that were into comics. Not even as kids. I was always that I had other friends that were into toys or
Yeah.
games
Yeah.
or but never comics. You
Yeah.
know, and it's I've always been that one person. I've always had, you know, the want to talk about books. Like, oh my God, did you read this new series? Did you see the Batman just fell out of space and survived?
Absolutely, man.
But I just
Absolutely.
never had that. And I've
Hmm.
been going to LCSs my whole life, and I say this, and maybe people take it as a joke, but I'm kind of invisible. Like no one really remembers me in person. No one really notices like that I come and go. Back in y'all think I pick up a lot of books like on YouTube.
Hmm.
Before YouTube, I was picking up like way more than this because I was picking up everything that DC was dropping and Marvel. It had nothing to do with reviews and my personal PC stuff. And then on top of that, back in Houston, I had a ton of different shops where I could go get like dollar bins and 50 cents bins and
Nice.
stuff like that. No, but okay, so those are two reasons, right?
Yeah.
Interaction is a big one. I wanted to
Yeah.
reach out and talk to other people that were passionate about the same thing, whether it be art, story, whatever.
Hmm.
Um, the first thing being the diary, and I'd say the third reason is like a free way that if you couldn't buy a comic, you could come on my page and on my channel, and you could actually see like the whole comic, no spoiler. I mean, like spoilers and everything, like with like and get a legitimate free way to see like read a comic just in case you didn't have that money to catch that issue or whatever, or
Yeah.
you're in like maybe a stink where you don't have money to buy comics for like a year or something like that, but you still want to keep up kind of thing. It was always that was kind of the intention. And I
I
just
like
kind of
that.
like I just kind of named it reviews because I feel like that's what I'm doing, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nah, man, it's cool and it's awesome because like there's a handful of channels that I turn to if I want to find out about a comic book, and you're definitely right at the top of the list. You and Indie Comics and Reviews have always been like right. Y'all are my
Right.
go-tos for comic book reviews, so
Hey,
definitely had to
right.
shout you out for that. And that's why I wanted to hang out. I mean, other than like us being close, man, I really wanted to highlight your channel, dude, because you have an awesome channel. You got some really good stuff going on over there, and I wanted to hopefully point some new people in that direction that maybe have never heard of your channel before. But how long ago was it that you started the channel up?
I've passed my 2 year mark, but I don't know exactly. I want to say it's like 2 years and 2 months, something like that. But I
Nice.
did have like the 3 month gap, so technically 2 years. I'd have to go like another month to do 2 years. But I mean, I've been on YouTube the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, man, I think I have like a similar story where I tried YouTube like maybe 7 years before I did the comic thing. I had some Hot Wheel videos and like other stuff, but not
Yeah.
officially.
Well, what I was going to ask you about other hobbies. Like, what other hobbies do you have besides comics? Do you still do the Hot Wheel thing?
Yep. I picked up a Hot Wheels today, and this one's pretty cool because it's like for blind people. It's actually done in
What? Oh,
Braille.
Braille.
It actually says the name of the car on the side, which is a twin mail car. On the
That
car
is
itself,
awesome.
like you can kind of see, like on the car itself, it has like the Braille marks over here too. It's hard to see because it's a whole white car, but and
No,
that's
I
why they
can
did it
see it,
white. But
man.
there is the
I've
no,
never
and
seen that before. That's cool.
it actually has like the blind. It's National Federation of the Blind, like marker at the top. I love finding stuff like that, like
That's
just
interesting,
unique,
dude. I like that
different.
a lot. I've never seen anything like that. That's really cool. And I've never seen like that makes me think about like Braille in relation to comic books. Have you ever seen a comic book that was that way before?
I have
Have you?
seen one Braille comic. There was a shop that I went to, and they had it on display, like it was some kind of like a key or something like that. When I went to go
Yeah.
look at it, it was just a Braille comic. But I don't know if it was like actually published that way. It could have been something that was like fan made or something. I'm not sure,
Dude, I've
but I'm
never
pretty
even
sure they
thought about
have
that.
to.
Yeah. I don't know. That would be like something different that I've never seen before. Yeah,
But
great show
hobbies
tonight,
I do.
Izzy. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, you're good. No, but hobbies I do like. I mean, I have to like. It's kind of like budget. My main hobby is my comics.
Yeah.
That's where I spend most of my money on. But I do save money for my other hobbies, and like I'd say, like I retro game, and I pick up like a lot of stuff as far as like retro gaming is concerned, Nintendo, PlayStation, stuff like that. I still game current games, you know.
Mhm.
But I have a huge like, and it's not even nostalgia for games because I do collect stuff that I've already beaten and played a million times. But like, I also like enjoy playing games that I never got to play. Like I just recently beat like Paper Mario on N64. Um, no, but I just go back and forth. I enjoy older games and newer games. But I also do the Hot Wheel collecting. I will say I love action figures, but recently, just
Too.
price wise, I kind of stay away from the ones that I collect right now, or all the
Crazy,
like
dude.
McFarlane superpower ones, because
Those
they're
are
all like
nice,
$10 a
man.
pop.
Yeah.
You know,
Those are
they're all like
nice.
$10, so they're not too bad.
Dude, you're exactly right, man. Those paying the prices for McFarlane toys and Hasbro, like the DC Multiverse and Marvel Legends, they're getting crazy. It's getting ridiculous, dude.
But
It's
I
just
mean, I do have some. I have, I got, you know, Camila Khan from the show. I got the Moon Knight from the show. I do have
yeah,
some more, but I have
that's
to clean
cool.
them. But it's a cloak and dagger. I actually have like a
Ooh,
cloak and dagger somewhere else.
I love Cloak and Dagger,
I
dude.
have a Metroid figure. We have Zelda and Link somewhere. He's over here.
Ah, hell yeah. That's cool. So yeah, you got a little bit of a toy collection going. Nice.
Yeah. I mean, and that's my brother too. My brother's not big into comics, but he's big into
Yeah.
everything like comic related. Like he was big into the comic cards. He has like I mean, he has a massive collection himself, like of
Well,
just comic book stuff.
let's talk about your brother, man. How's he doing?
He's doing good. And, you know,
He's
he's
doing
going
better
through
now?
rehab. I'm
Good,
actually
good.
pretty proud of him. He's cut down a lot of different of his eating habits. You know, he's doing real good.
Okay. For you guys that may not know, his brother kind of had some shit go down last week, had a health emergency and a really bad scare. We'll just put it that way. And but hopefully man, I was praying for him, hoping that he would do better, man. And so I'm glad to
It
hear
was
that
a
he
big
is.
scare for him going,
I
you
bet,
know,
man.
going into 38.
It would have to be. It scared the shit out of me. I'm glad to hear that he's doing
Um,
better. Yeah.
but I do have a lot of other passions. You know, it's always like what you can do
Hmm.
single versus what you can do in a group with friends. But I love tabletop gaming, that kind of stuff. I actually have a
Me
massive
too.
board game collection, and like me and my brother, he has friends. They come over. I don't have any friends. I still have yet to make a single connection here in Colorado.
That
Besides my
sucks.
LCS guy, he's like my one friend. Um, no, but that's partly my fault. I just don't talk to people like that. You know, I mean, like I do, and it's very quick. Or um, no, but my brother has a good solid set of friends, and they'll come over and we'll play board games or
That's always good.
um, you know, video games, stuff like that. We watch a lot of TV. Watch the new the Super Brother. Oh, damn it, I can't talk. Super Mario Brothers movie.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I saw it. We saw it day. Well, I mean, we saw it first showing. I told you I'm a video gamer.
Hell yeah. Hey man, we got a
I
question.
think
X11 Bravo wanted to know, when are we going to get an Evil Brothers show?
and he's actually made a couple appearances. There's actually a video I have on my channel where he was opening sports cards because that's kind of his thing. He's into sports. Like, I mean, that's the difference between us. I'm into all the nerdy stuff, and then he's into, you know, the sports side of stuff. And you know, I'll watch sports with him, but it's just not my bag. I kind of gave up on sports a while ago, for various reasons. But no, no, he makes appearances and stuff, and he's here. He could probably hear me in the background. He's probably smoking, just chilling. He's watching TV.
Hell yeah.
It's okay.
Relaxing, kick back. That's
Hmm.
good, man.
And
I'm,
and his nickname is Lucky. And it's the
what it,
opposite of the evil thing, Lucky. And his nickname is very true. He's a very lucky individual, and not just like health wise, because that's what we're talking about. But he's a very lucky individual as far as like gaming and
I think
so
I
it kind of
remember him
sticks.
winning. Didn't he win a giveaway recently
Yeah, he
or
won
something?
on DJ Link's channel.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Oh man. So what made you to decide to do the review thing? Kind of what you were saying about, like, for people that didn't have the money to buy the comics that week, is basically like what
I've,
you,
um,
or was it
I've
something
been a
else?
reviewer. No, I've been a reviewer before, but for TV and movies in college, and I did that for 4 years. So I've
Okay.
already kind of used to that format. I used to do it with a co-host, but like, kind of breaking down what you like, talking about, certain stuff, that kind of stuff. But like,
Yeah.
and that's kind of why I do mine with spoilers and everything. I don't even mention the spoiler thing because it's the way I do the review. Um, but no, I was always kind of looking for a gimmick, and I say like a gimmick, but I was always trying to get on YouTube. I felt like, either with one of my passions, and like originally I was going to do Gundam because I do like they call it gunplow, but like I do a gun like Gundam modeling, painting, that
Wow,
kind of
that's
stuff. I
cool.
don't do it. I don't do it so much here. I did it back home a lot.
Hmm.
Um, but it's more like I don't have really the workspace to do it here. But no, I was always looking for like a gimmick, and like I was already watching a lot of comic YouTubers, and we already know, but Dane Comics was my
Thanks, awesome.
inspiration for getting me on YouTube, and it wasn't even like he was just the inspiration. He was literally showing us what to do on like a free, easy to do, you just do this and this is how you do that. You just do this and this is how you do that, that kind of stuff. So like that,
I miss
he
seeing
was,
Dank, man.
I miss Dang. And everybody always asks me, like, I mean, I send him messages and stuff and he likes them, but he never like physically responds back. So, I mean, he's still there. It's just, I don't
Yeah.
know. And the last I heard, he's filming, and that's all I know. But I mean, he knew people like Aquafina, and like, I mean, he was, he had some connections,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah. Dank's a special guy, man.
I love Dank, but no, he was the whole big reason. He just made it seem easy to get on YouTube. And like my best friend back home, Daryl, he had like a nice camera, and I was like, bro, let me borrow that camera for like a day and see if I can mess around with it. And he wasn't
Hmm.
doing anything with this camera, so I literally did that. I went and bought like a microphone. Like I was just sitting in my apartment at the time, like, man, how do I do this? And my first couple of videos were trash, like
Dude, I
trash.
bet mine were worse.
Like, nah, mine were bad. Like the camera was like this close and shit. And like, no,
Mine's
it
all
was
like
bad.
blinking in and out. The light's horrible. It's really bad.
Um, I will say it was a learning experience,
Yeah, that's what it is.
but that's kind of like, really it was dank, and it was comics, and I was like, bro, people are just watching, what CJ calls the hashtag look at me, where we just show off our new comic book hauls. And originally that's kind of all I was going to do because I was already picking up massive hauls. Most of the hauls that I was watching, I was like, man, I pick up way more comics than these guys. I was like, and they're getting like views and likes off of just their hauls and stuff. I was like, I got to beat, bro. I got to beat. Um, so that's kind of like, the whole sum up. But the reviews, um, I just wanted to talk about comics, and it was a way that, like, I felt like the way that's why I do it with the spoilers and everything, because I wanted you as a viewer to, read the comic with me or experience it, get to hear most of the story. Because for those who don't know, I don't do all the comic. There's a lot I leave out. I don't tell that, but there's a lot I leave out. I kind of briskly, kind of slim over stuff. I do that on
Thanks.
purpose, but I don't explain that stuff. I don't feel like I need to. Like after you've watched a couple of reviews and you've actually read a book, it should be obvious. Um, but no, that's kind of the reasoning. I wanted the viewer a good way to like, be able to like no excuses. Like, hey, you want to be in the evil book club? Well, guess what? All you got to do is watch this video, and at the end of it, let's talk about it. And that was basically it.
Yeah,
I was trying to be creative and come up with the best way to get people to talk about the comics that I wanted to talk about.
I think you do a good job of it, man. I think you do a pretty damn good job of it. But anyways, man, I wanted to get your opinions on some comic book stuff while we have time. You read a lot of different comic books, obviously, to do the channel, and as a comic book collector, what are some of your favorite series that are currently running right now? Like, what are some that you
See,
would
you said that
recommend?
word. Um, it's hard because a lot of stuff just ended, but
Yeah,
I'm trying to think.
we do have a lot of new number ones coming up.
And we're saying you said indies.
Anything, man. I mean, what are some what are some books that you are currently on that are just good right now that you would
Death
suggest
Dealer.
to someone else, I guess?
So let's start with Barbarians. If you're into fantasy stuff, Barbaric,
Mhm.
of course, is like my number one.
I
Barbaric
love
all the way through
barbarics,
has been
man.
fantastic.
Great
I will
choice.
say I don't like the ones I like all of it, but I will say when they switch the artist, I'm not so much of a fan. I love when they stick with Nathan Gooden. His art just
Yeah,
complements the story and everything.
yeah.
Um,
I love that
all right,
series, man.
so sticking to Barbarians, my second favorite would actually be Death Dealer, but from Opus Comics. I love Death Dealer.
I have
I've never
not read
reviewed
that.
it. I've never reviewed it. I've never talked about it on my channel. But as far
Mhm.
as like it being a solid read, because now it's 12 issues deep. One of my favorite writers just came
Yeah.
on in issue 12. But no, Death Dealer is it's pretty much like Barbaric. It's kind of the same premise. You know, instead of an axe, it's his helmet that talks and stuff. But like,
Okay.
it's been a fantastic read all the way through, and art and everything else.
The
And
art's
it's kind of
beautiful.
nice because they do have like well because it's based on Frank Frazetta's work, but the art inside
Yeah.
isn't his work, but just the like the cover.
Who does the
It's
inner
based
artwork?
off of it changes like
Oh,
it
okay.
like I want to
Gotcha.
say every 2 or 3 issues that and that's what's kind of cool is it has changed since it started and it's been solid all the way through, which shows like the devotion to that that storyline, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um, the Last Barbarians has been real good from Image. It's kind of like I'd say one of my least favorite of the Barbarians, but I have a feeling it's still in the process of like getting going.
Okay.
Um, but I mean, it's not a bad read at all. But getting
I'm not
away
familiar with
from
that
like
one.
Last Bar, and I love the team from the Last Barbarians. It's and what's his name, Van Dyke and Hammerly, I think they're Brian Hammerly. But they've done other. They did Hellcop before this. Before that, it was like Sonata. Um,
Okay.
but like all their previous series, I've loved the art, the story.
Mhm.
It's always something different. Um, all right, so some other big ones, and this one just ended. I'm hoping we get a volume two. I haven't read the last issue, but Hexware. Hexware was one that no one talks about. I know some people don't like the writer. I know Mark, if he's still he don't like Tim Seeley. But man, Hexware, like all the way through, not only did this make me fall in love with her art, which is Zulema Scotty Lavina, but like she's popped up to be like my third favorite artist now. Like I've gone back and like hunted down some of her previous stuff. But the Hexware was really, really good. And basically all it is in a nutshell, it's like a new age version of Pinocchio
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I'm gonna write that down right
Um,
now. I'm gonna check that out. Hexware. Yeah,
let's
I'm gonna check
see.
that out.
I'm a big something is killing the children, and I know a lot of people
Are you
haven't,
still on
they
that
don't
run? You
like.
still liking it?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, and
Cool.
I'm in the opposite where I like, the House of Slaughter stuff. I've liked everything that they dropped. I say the House of Slaughter is more of a slow burn, it's because they're doing that 5 arc issue.
Mm-hmm.
But some other big indies that have been solid all the way through that I love is Noctera. Noctera's been fire all the way through.
Noctera is great. I've been on
Vanish.
it since
I
issue
know,
one.
I know. I know Durs talks about Vanish, but Vanish has been solid all the way through. I've enjoyed it,
Really?
and it hasn't slipped. Yeah, it hasn't slipped one issue. Every issue has been very entertaining, and the art
Okay.
is stellar inside. Um, some other ones I finished that no one was on that I like to praise, but with Gospel was really good. And
Never
I
even heard of
honestly,
that.
I've never. I think Matt might have been the only other person that read Gospel, or maybe Cole. I can't remember. But it was from Image, and it was only like a 6 issue series. Two Graves was another one that was really good.
Okay.
Um, the whole Behemoth was really good. It was kind of like a different version of Attack on Titans or Godzilla or Kaiju's. Take it what you will, but it kind of reminded me a lot of Attack on Titans. But that one was good and, all the way through.
So
A lot of people ask me like,
are you really indie heavy? Or do you read any Marvel DC at all? Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Actually, it's my pull is like it's all half, half, half. Like I can actually show you what I plan to pull this coming
Are
week.
you a Marvel kid or a DC kid? If you had to
Growing up, I
choose.
was actually when I was growing up, I was actually a Marvel kid. Like,
Me
I
too.
was heavy into the X-Men in the 90s. Like, DC was always there. But I'd say when I was
Yeah.
growing up, the comics that I was like heavy about collecting was Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four, and
Me
I've
too.
had most of the major keys, and I even had early, like very early ASM. I had ASM 8, 9. I had some
Dang.
early ones in
Wow.
my good collection. But like
Yes,
now,
sir.
if you had to ask me, and most everybody knows this in the chat, but I'm a DC guy. Like, man, and
A
I
lot
don't
of
see
good
that
DC
changing.
titles, man. A lot of good DC titles.
Everything, honestly, and people ask me that they were like, do I review bad comics? Yes, I do. If I I look for that, man. If I, and I wouldn't say that's the goal, but man, I look for a bad storyline so I can so I can tell the community, man, like, ooh, this was bad. What do you think about it? Stuff like that. But I read so much, and you talk about how few and far, like, I come across actually bad stuff. I'll come across stuff that I'm not interested in, or, it might seem interesting at first, but then it falls off in the end or something like that. But as far as just bad, like, it's very few far in between. But like my pull list this week, and it always starts off this week.
Damn.
I have
That's a pull list.
23 books to pick up. Nah, this week's small. Um,
Shit. That's like my old
this
like
week's
FOMO heavy
this week's
list.
small. So like from 23 books, I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 are indie books. After that, we got DC. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 DC books, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Marvel books. And really, I think it's this week is just what's dropping. Honestly, I think I'm picking up every DC book that drops this week because they're just already on my pull list. But like, I don't think there's like in DC, there's a couple that I pass up because I don't do the little kitty books, the Scooby Doo mystery ones.
Yeah.
Um, no, but I mean, like right now, like honestly, back in 2021, if you looked at my channel, like when I first started, I was not
Hmm.
into Marvel. And I was trying to get into Marvel. They just didn't. They weren't dropping series that I was interested in at the time. But currently, there's actually quite a bit of different Marvel storylines that have been dropping that I either have interest, whether or not they're good. I mean, but that was like Daredevil. I mean, I've been there since day one reading. And
Daredevil's
have
been
enjoyed
awesome.
that all the way through.
Hmm.
But like Aliens and Predator, they've been going with that. I'm a huge, me and you both are huge horror fans, and in
Yeah,
my
man.
opinion, they're
Love
doing a
horror.
really good job with both. No, but right now Marvel's actually dropping quite a bit. It falls in just stuff I would like. That's a good question. Is do I pick up comics just for the channel? Right? No, I pick up what I'm interested in. That's it. Like
Okay.
I stay away from stuff that, for one, I know I'm not going to be interested in. I can give it a big example, but I'm not into spy thrillers, and it's not to say that I don't try them, but
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. I'm not into them. It doesn't mean I don't watch James Bond or Jason Bourne. No, those are great movies and stuff. But as far as like reading it and investing like my heart and soul into that type of story, it's just
Hmm.
not for me. And I'm not saying that against anybody else,
Right.
but
It's
with
not your
me
thing.
knowing that, yeah, with me knowing that, I stay away from that stuff, and
Hmm.
that way I'd
I
like,
understand.
because if I pick that up, it's going to be one of those things where it's like I will be disappointed because, for one, I'm just not into that story. I'll be like, what am I reading? Like,
Right. Yeah. We'll see. What are some writers that you enjoy? Like who are some of your favorite writers?
America wins over everything. America's my
Yeah,
favorite writer, my
I
favorite
already knew
artist.
that.
Okay, so I have to take her out of the thing, and that's why I love. That's one of the reasons she's so high up on my list. And I've said this, and maybe people don't know it. She's the only writer artist that has a pass to work between Marvel, DC, and every indie company. There's no other writer, and there's no
Wow.
other artist that has
Okay.
that capability right now.
That's impressive.
That's one. She's a
Yeah.
triple threat. She's worked at, and not only that, but she's current with all of them. She has stuff coming out from Marvel, DC, and every indie publication you can think of, and that's including Sumerian, that's including Ablaze,
A
SourcePoint
Blaze.
Press,
Yeah.
Archie. Um,
And all her
okay,
stuff's
so
good, man. It's, some of it's not for everybody because it'll be like romance
it's
or like
different.
sort of
Yeah,
adult. themed, but so it's not
That's
for
why I
everybody.
recommend. I do
It's
the
good
sweet
for what it
paprika
is,
thing, but
though. You know,
I
like
do
it's
the sweet
good.
paprika thing, but nowadays it's more of a joke. It's just because it's like my favorite thing, and that's the first
Yeah.
thing I throw out there. But anybody that knows me, that's the first book I will talk about because I love it so much.
Well, I mean, I don't blame
But
you.
other writers and stuff that I like that I tend to go to, I read a lot of Tim Seeley, and honestly, I like a lot of his stuff. Like
Okay.
he writes a lot of our horror stuff. Like
Yeah.
so, I mean, I read a lot of his stuff, and so far I haven't been disappointed. But a lot of the big writers, like I do like James Tynion, I do like Ram V. So
Yes.
far, like most of their storylines, I've enjoyed all theirs. Ram V, I'd say I'm a lot more bigger into
Me too.
because he
If I
has
had to
done
pick
some of my
between the
favorite
two,
ones, like Layla Starr. I love that, and that's really what got me in there in
that was an
the
awesome
Ram V
story.
door. Um, let's see, Scott Snyder is a big one I go after when I can get him. Um, let's see, my dude that I just my IG, I just talked about him, even though I've only read two of his series, but still, I mean, those two series are some of my favorite. Mark McCain, I love Mark McCain. And if you don't know, he did the little like 6-issue series Never Never from Heavy Metal back in 2021.
That's where I've heard that name.
Um,
Okay.
I love Mark McCain. I love that version of Peter Pan. That's actually kind of closer to the version of Peter Pan I grew up with before the whole Disney. Um, let's see, other famous writers. I mean, out of comics, my favorite writer is Stephen King. So anything that's
Okay.
written, like
Good
for
choice.
instance, one of my favorite series is the Dark Tower series from Marvel, and I know Norman, if he's still here, he has that whole series. It's drawn by Jay Lee. Um, man, but let's see. I'm trying to think of other favorite writers.
If you
I,
guys
I'm
got
I'm
any
really bad with
questions to ask
names.
Mike, man, just feel free to ask
Yeah,
any questions. Sorry, Mike,
that's
I
one
didn't mean
thing
to cut
I'm
you off.
famous. No, no, no. That's one thing that I say in every video, or I try to say in every video, because it's true. And it's not just I'm bad with pronouncing names. That's not what I'm talking about. Because I say I'm bad with names. I'm bad with remembering names. I could be literally,
I
I'll
like
take your name, like I'll take someone's name, and literally 2 seconds later, it's gone, out of mind, out of sight, and I'll be looking at the person. I'll be like, "What the fuck is his name?" I'll be like, "Damn."
it. I do
Um,
that too.
Now, when I do all my reviews, I have like a cheat sheet where I have to have like, oh hell yeah, all hell the Crimson King. I have a tattoo. Um,
Nice.
what do you? No, but damn, I lost my train of thought. I lost my train. He caught me off with the Crimson King thing. No, but I am bad with names. I think that's what I was talking about, and it's
Yeah,
really
man,
just
that's
the memory
exactly.
and stuff.
We're getting old and we can't remember
Amistad,
shit. Is what it is.
Amistad. Man, Marcus used to rag on me that for the way I used to pronounce Amistad. And he was like, "It's
Amethyst.
not Amistad, it's Amethyst." And he could never say it to me. He'd have to like pronounce it. I think it was like we got on a live one day. It might have been like spine text or something. I don't know. Um,
If
no, but
any
I
of
do
you
have a
guys,
cheat sheet when I do my reviews.
dude, I have to have a cheat sheet for everything, man. I'm using a cheat sheet through this whole live.
I have like the names. I have like character names because I used to do reviews and I didn't use the sheets. I'd be doing a review and I'd be talking about like, for instance, like Tim Drake, and like halfway during the video I'll be calling him like Robin Glory, and then I'll go into like calling him like some other random ass names. I'll be like, fuck, I was supposed to be talking about Tim Drake. Like, no, I'm really bad with names in that way. And it's not that I forget who I'm talking about or anything like that. It's just yeah, I don't know.
Well, dude, what do you got?
Okay.
Let's see, we got a couple of minutes left. We'll be running over into TM and Roscoe's time. What do you got coming up, man? What do you have? What can we expect from Evil Mike in the near future?
Oh, always reviews. That's pretty much all I do. And maybe guest appearances, but I like it. You, Scott, and maybe a couple few are fortunate where you've got me to like set aside my non-scheduling shit and actually appear for a scheduled event. I'm not
Dude,
big on that. I like to keep the non-scheduled. So, but I do make that
I'm very
exception
grateful, man.
for a few. But yeah, I mean, I drop reviews. Like I really like. I just dropped one a day for Brian. I'm dropping one as soon as we get off of this for like an I don't really know him, but it's a guy that commented, but a guy named Jose. Go Jose. Um, Nah, but right now it's just reviews, and honestly, I'm so far behind on reviews. It's kind of like, I mean, if anybody wants requests, I'll do those over the ones
Cool.
that I need to do.
You heard it, guys. Any requests, man? Throw them out there. He'll do them.
I've kind of just been chilling out in the community. Like a couple days ago, I was chilling out with Caroline, helping her, and well, she was streaming the Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I was trying to help her
Oh,
with
cool.
tips and tricks. We were kind of just chilling doing that.
That's always fun.
Um, I tend to show up in Comic Journey on his live. He's one of my favorite person to
He's awesome.
go
CJ
live
Russell.
with. um, but he tends to go like very late at night, and I had to change my schedule when I came to Colorado. So really, like the latest you'll ever catch me on YouTube is like 10:30, because I
Yeah,
got to be up at I
same.
only sleep like 5 hours. I'm up at like
Yeah,
4 in
dude.
the morning.
I gotta be up. Yeah, 5:30, man. I'm up.
Yep,
Five
and I'm gonna
thirty
be
comes
on
early.
Phil's. I am gonna
Oh,
be
my
on
bad.
Phil's trivia.
A
And I
little
think that's
squirrel.
coming up I think we got a little time for that. I think that's June, if I'm not mistaken.
So when is that? Do you have an exact date for your treehouse trivia? Do y'all have an established date yet?
No, I
We'll
think we
see.
have, and I'm just really bad at remembering, but I'm pretty sure Phil's already sent me the date.
He'll comment,
Originally, I was supposed to
hopefully.
have another. I was supposed to have another date, and I think I switched it out for Tylox because of his work schedule. But I think I might be making my appearance in June, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, dude, I'll definitely be on the watch for that because I enjoyed that
June
last one.
18th. Thanks,
June
Phil.
18th, he said. Yeah, that last one
Hmm.
with Travis and Roscoe, that was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I didn't even get notified. I was like, "What the hell?" I was up and watching YouTube, and then I saw some. I think it was actual Dracula, and he was talking about winning some in Phil's treehouse. I was like, "What the hell?" I had to go look, and sure enough, it was already like an hour past. I was like, "Damn!"
Well, dude, man, you got anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
Mm, I think we covered a lot, man. I mean, honestly, I don't want to bleed over to Roscoe and try to warm. I don't care either way. They're my besties. I will say, like,
All
we,
good.
we hang out in groups, right? We sit at tables. I sit at a lot of different tables, but like, I do have favorites. I hate to say that, but I have favorites. But I see
Everybody
this whole
does.
community as a family. This is my real family. I might have talked about the family that I left and blah blah blah. This is my real family. Ever since I got on YouTube, this is what I gained. It's the friends and connections, and it's not just that, man. I know, some of y'all, your likes, dislikes. I know I can go in a comic shop and buy Trev something. I know I can go into any comic shop and buy Brian something. I know, um, these things. I love these things. Like actually getting like messages like "Happy Birthday," and I didn't have to post like, anything about my birthday. People,
Yeah, man, we love you, bro.
that's what I got on YouTube for, and I've gotten that. I'm not one of them people where I'm like, oh, I don't feel loved, or I don't feel like I'm doing the right thing. My whole
Yeah.
journey, I felt like I've been doing the right thing. I might not have grown as fast as some other people, but in my opinion, I mean, once I hit like more than 2 viewers, I was already made. I already felt like a king. I already felt
Dude,
like someone random was watching me, and I was like, yes.
CBC nomination already, man. How did that feel? How did that feel,
Well, I've
dude?
had two. I've had two actually. I was
Oh,
nominated the
two.
first year.
Two,
I was
y'all.
actually nominated for Best New Channel the first year, and second year I was nominated for Best Reviews. I
God
didn't
damn,
win, but
dude.
it was hella cool being nominated, especially the first
That's
year, Best New
that's
Channel.
it, man. If you get nominated, to me, you won. I mean, like, really, to win the trophy would be awesome. Don't get me wrong, but like to just be nominated, that's a win, dude. That's a win.
That I mean, just to have my name get nominated by one person,
Yeah,
even if
dude.
it didn't show up to me, that's the win. I mean, somebody, felt like I was deserving enough to win this award, and to me, that's what it's really about. That's why I don't plug. I do plug the award, and I have done the whole vote for me stuff, but I do that on my channel. I don't go on anybody else's channel and be like, "Hey, man, vote for me, man. I'm giving you." No, man, this is your channel, and if anything, it needs to be held up in high respect. And on my channel, it's done the same.
Yeah,
No, but I love Brian and what he's done. I felt like that this was
absolutely.
something that was needed and something, and in my opinion, it does bring us better. bring us together, and it makes us better as a community because
Absolutely.
every year it's issued out false, and yes, it's a bad thing, but at the same time, people have stood up for it. People have been passionate enough to take the time out to validate some real, legit things versus lies or rumors or stuff like that. But there's a lot of good that has come out of the awards, and not just the awards itself. Like alerting new channels to other, because I'm pretty sure like a lot of channels hadn't heard about a lot of channels that were being nominated after the first year.
I
There they
know.
were.
Yeah. I found a lot of channels that way. Yeah.
I
So
did
it's
too,
a
and,
good thing.
I mean, because I think it's an everyday basis, and I think Brian said it a lot, and I do the same thing. You find new channels every day,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. The community's always growing. Got to make sure everybody's getting their vote in so that everybody like has a fair shot. Anybody that's deserving,
And
could get
that's the
nominated.
other thing. I
Anybody,
don't want people to vote for me just to vote. I want vote for me
because
because you
they
think
want
I'm the best
to.
reviewer, or
Right.
yeah, like you have legitimate reasons. Don't just vote
Vote
for me
for who
because you're my
you think is the
friend, or
best, not who your friend
yeah.
is. Vote for the best, the most deserving. Vote for the
Except
person
for
that does the best
except for the
job.
most comedic, because that automatically goes to Freaky Louie. Like there's no other no.
Shout out Freaky Louie. All right, man. I guess we'll wrap it up. We got Between the Lines next. I think it's Alexandra Bustos. I think that's her name, the Instagram artist that they have tonight. Really cool guests either way, even though I can't remember the name exactly. Sorry, y'all. Next week I got Stephanie Madam Blaster. She'll be on hanging out at 7:30. Next Monday, that's 7:30 Eastern time. This Saturday, the 1K giveaway. Mike, you want to come hang out this Saturday? Can you come hang out for the 1K
I
giveaway?
probably will.
Cool,
I
man. I hope
probably
you can make
will.
it, dude. Thank you guys for coming out and hanging out tonight. We'll wrap it up. Mike, you want to say bye to everybody? Tell them bye.
Bye. No.
I'll see you guys next week.
Thank y'all.
See you.